and welcome to RC Cincy. Today we have the axial SCX 24. So I did a full unboxing and initial thoughts. Kind of did a quick little crawl through the house at indoor. Honestly, it needs a better crawler course, which I'll do because it's been raining and just kind of miserable out. But I will make a nicer outdoor course, and of course I'll also try to find a actual 124 scale course for it. I know some hobby shops have it. I know definitely there's 1/10 scale courses, but some of them actually have smaller little courses set up for them. So I'll work on that. But meanwhile, after I did the first crawl with it, I noticed a few things I kind of didn't like about it. And the awesome part is it has an amazing part support, being axial, and there's tons of parts out there. And I think I could solve the problem that I thought was significant with this. It was very affordable and very easy to do. So I thought, why not upgrade it? This is kind of an upgrade video. There will be other ones because there's other parts I want to get and kind of look into first and see the route I want to go. But I think this is gonna have the biggest impact, and of course I will test that as well. I will literally swamp the parts and test it on a track and see how big of a difference it makes. But without further ado, let's share what we got, and then we'll kind of go over setting it up and putting it together. So I purchased this off of Amazon. I'll have a link in the description, but this is basically a 39 millimeter shock set. So it's supposed to have fluid. Some of them do not put the fluid in there, so keep that in mind. You may need to have some fluid on hand. And there's also different fluids that you can put in there. There's different grain weights. There's, you know, the silicone, there's the oil, shock oil. So it just depends on how you want to run it, what viscosity or what thickness of the oil you want to run. So keep that in mind. This one is a set of 4. It's black and gray, and it comes with tons of little bits and different springs for it. So I could appreciate that. I think this was like a $20, I think it was like 21 bucks. I think it was $20.99. So around that price range. Obviously, if you have Amazon, it's amazing. Amazon Prime, I apologize, it's amazing. So I bought this. I have tons of parts in my cart. I just have to click buy. And I just kind of want to see what performance difference this makes and kind of build off of this. So there's that. And then I also purchased oil. So I wasn't gonna go with silicone, but the only reason I chose oil is I have tons of products that could use this. I think I have other oils because I ran nitro, so I would have like air filter oil, I would have diff oil, I would have shock oil, I would have like mid different, like I had literally different weights as well, like 30, 3,000, 30,000, 10,000, 5,000. This is, let's see, this is Team Losi Racing, so it's really good stuff, lab tested. 2 ounces for accurate, precise. I think this is the 50 weight. 50 weight, yep. 50 weight oil. So kind of thick, you can see it, kind of see how it's moving. It's not the thickest they make, but definitely it's got some weight to it. And that's why a lot of folks do the silicone oil or whatever. It's kind of thick, almost like a grease, not as liquidy as this. But I think this will work well. You have to have an O-ring in there to kind of keep this oil in there. The grease can kind of be adding more shocks, but I want to go this route. Let's see if it has any in there, we'll open one up. And remember to fill them all equally, because that does make a difference. And you can use different spring setups, like use different springs on front and back. We'll kind of go over that in setup and installation. So the oil as well. And then of course I have my trusty little precision set. This is only a 3 volt, so it's not gonna strip anything. Yeah, it's 3 volts or whatever. It's not gonna, actually I think it's 4 volts or 3 volts. It's not gonna strip anything. It's just gonna help take stuff off easier. And I think I actually have the right size for it. If not, I have a bigger precision set that has more sizes. But there is a Allen key in here that should access it. And when you buy an axial, it comes with some spare parts and an Allen key. Not sure if that's the right one. I'll look into that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of unpackage this, kind of set everything up, open that, and then we'll go from there, just kind of figuring stuff out. We'll move some of the stuff out of the way. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. All we did is open the bag. Of course, it came with 4 pre-assembled shocks. I'm not 100% sure on the fluid. I need to use something to grab it and turn the top and see if there's fluid in there. Honestly, I think it's dry. It's just the spring and the rubber in there. I think with oil, it would feel a lot better. In the beginning, they were kind of sticking a little bit, but now they're moving pretty good. So there may be something in there. Hopefully there is. See, like this one. See how it's... And... Hold on. See if I can, once you start working, it does okay. But like in the very first one, kind of stuck a little bit. See, there you go. See, that's not coming back up. And then of course, if you work it a little bit, I think there's just air in there, no liquid, right? So we'll have to open one of those up to address that. It came with a tool that will work for removing them, so I can appreciate that. Of course, axial also included one, so that was a really nice touch. It also came with 3 sets of springs, 1 assembled. This is definitely a black set. You have kind of a grayish black. You can see the silver a little bit, and then silver. So these seem to be stiffer, and these seem to be a little bit softer. And maybe these are the softest, or the softest, medium, and I don't know the order of them exactly. You can squeeze this spring and kind of feel it. I'm gonna go with these for now. I will be testing those other ones as well. And then it gave you so many bits and bobs. And the nice part is this machine takes a lot of these. So it gave you these little screws, a bunch of those. It gave you the rubber, looks like rubber O-rings for the shocks. Gave you those. It gave us nuts for those screws. See the nuts? It gave us little bushings. See that? It gave us the bushings. And there should be washers as well. It looks like washers as well. And it looks like bigger washers as well, or spacers. So that is a really nice set to kind of adjust it and to attach it. And to even use these parts on other things. Now, I don't like the fact that they're silver. I'm going to obviously try to use the black ones if they're long enough. If not, I'll have to use the silver, not the deal breaker. You are going to need these bushings kind of installed because technically they're not in there. So these should theoretically go on a certain way. Can't remember which way they go on. Yep, this way. And basically... and then I'd imagine one side is going to need a spacer, right? So it doesn't come off. Yeah, that side is going to need a spacer so it doesn't come off. You can see one side is flared more than the other, which is fine. I don't know if there's might even be different size bushings. What? Oh, these are all the same size. So this is what it's going to ride in. You can probably use the factory ones as well. These have quite a bit of play. See that? I mean, they're supposed to move, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We'll see what the factory has. The factory has the black ones. I think those will look better than brass anyways. So we may use the factory ones, see if they'll fit. But yeah, so now I need to use 2 different pliers. Now, you may want to even use like a little piece of towel or paper or something. What'll happen is you can actually... scratch this stuff. So you want to grab the bottom of it, move kind of the by the way, these are fully adjustable. Sorry, they're fully adjustable. You can see this is where it retains the oil. The cap's usually how you fill them. There's the bottom. There's usually the O-ring here and here, I do believe so. They're fully assembled, technically, majority assembled. You still need the bushings and then the screws mounting them. And I think it said no oil on the product. So it didn't lie saying it had oil. That's why, hence, I ordered oil. This is the oil I'm going to use. Maybe a little thicker, but We'll see, and you make sure you put the same amount of oil in all of them or they will react differently. Now, the nice part is the adjustment. They came like adjusted. There's a spacing. Make sure you adjust them accordingly and the spacing is similar. We'll address that later because I think I'm going to set them all to neutral, all the way screwed up. And then I'm going to see how the body reacts, see which side needs more than other, right? Depends on weight and the way you like to crawl. So there's a lot of factors there. We'll go ahead and unscrew this all the way down to give us room to actually grab that little nut or whatever that is. And then you should be able to just hand unscrew this very carefully in case there is oil. Make sure that it's all the way pulled down. And we're going to take a peek. Come on. Please be oil. I don't want to do this. They are oiled. See? There is. They're pre-oiled. You just need to work them a little bit. Okay. Now, the question is, are they equally oiled? One can have more than another, and it can change the rebound. Let's go with factory setup. Give it snug. You don't want to strip that. Just a snug fit. Dude, that's got... Once you work that a little bit like that, that is nice. So we're going to go ahead and screw all this all the way in for now. We're going to start all the way in with all of them. Right? Let's do that with all of them. We'll start all the way neutral. And of course you could change the spring. It's just basically turning this at the end, unscrewing this. This is the fastest way in my opinion. Just like so. Whoops. Straight over a table. This spring will come out. You can see it's leaving a little bit wet, so that seal is a nice seal. Should be able to retain oil. Good oils, you'll see the dust will come off these cylinders. So good quality oil. Man, this is so small. I feel like it needs a little more. And I want that slow rebound. So you know what? I'm not mad at that. I hate bouncy rebound on a crawler. So let me find my cap piece. There it is. There's typically, well, no, it kind of flares out and it has a place kind of where the spring kind of sits in there. You know what? Let's run factory spring, factory setup from how they ship them to you. We'll turn these all the way in and we'll crawl. Then we'll try adjusting it. Then we'll try adjusting it. Then we'll finally try springs and then we'll try oil. So if you really want to know what these shocks are about, we will figure that out. So hold that metal thing with your hand. These are so small and hand tight is perfect. You don't need to be wrenching on them, scratching them all up with pliers and needle nose. I thought I needed these, but so far, no. I mean, have them if you need them, but... And work them before you go climbing. Just work them a little bit. Cold temperature affects certain oils, makes them thicker. See, it feels like it's a little dry, and then once you start moving it, like that initial stickiness, and then it immediately starts rebounding just fine. I may adjust these. We should have probably left them the way they were adjusted from the factory. Oh, this one is the height right there. So you know what? Let's even do that. Let's restore these back to the space they deemed operable for this. So we'll take the factory one that we did not adjust, and what you'll do is I'll kind of have it to the side, and you'll line it up. That one's matched up. That one's good. Oh no, this one's... The brand, I cannot say the name, by the way. Not trying to not give them credit because they make... So it's all about just lining it up. I'm trying to get it to where... It's a little bit more. Let me turn this one in a little bit. Boom, that one's adjusted. And then it's just a matter of literally taking them, lining them up. There we go. So that's that. So let's go with factory, right? All right, so to install this, unfortunately, looks like for the front and back, you're gonna need to remove the wheels. They did not give you a tool to remove the wheel. This is, my eyes are terrible, I apologize. This is a 4mm thing. It came from one of my precision sets. It didn't come with the electric one. Technically, could I run this in an electric one? Yeah. Do I need it? Probably. Well, it's 3 volt. Mind you, use a bigger one. You can strip. Unscrewing, you should never strip it really. If you're careful, get the right size. But putting it in, using a high torque one, like my heavier one that goes to, oh yeah, it fits it. This is amazing. Got the light if we need it. That is so nice. There's a nut. So I've never technically taken one of these apart. So we'll put the nut over here. That is your real nut. Please do not lose it. Let's slide it off. Is there a pin? Yes, there is a pin you can lose. Just like a full-size one. It has the hex and then a pin in there. So do not lose that pin. Man, those are tiny. And I do not have extras either. Okay, so once you do that, it'll give you... Do not tell me I have to take off the hub. Let me hold that so I don't lose that. Nope. There, we should be able to get to that. See that? That one right there and this one right here. That's all you need to get to. So we'll do one at a time. We don't need to get crazy here. I don't know. This is going to take a while. I don't know if I'm going to shoot all of it. Let's just shoot one and then... There we go. We're going to use the one that's included. So the experience... They seem similar. You get poor quality Allen wrenches, believe it or not. Is there a nut on the other side? Is this going to keep spinning? Or is it going to come off? Let me look, make sure there isn't a nut. It looks like it's threaded into plastic. So, should just unscrew. So you're just going to keep unscrewing until this comes out. I'm probably going to use the same screws. These kind of like snap in. So I may keep that together and just build a new set, right? I'm going to keep the screw in there, the piece, everything, because I don't want to lose the factory ones. And I'm going to do a comparison. So what I'll do is I'll take one off, we'll build one, put it on, and then I'll do the rest off camera because that'll take forever. Yes, my eyesight isn't what it used to be. So make sure you get it lined up. You don't want to strip these little screws. Get it lined up. I feel like this one, let's use the factory one, because if you buy one of these, you're going to get this one. I feel like this one fits better. It's a better quality wrench. I feel like the other one can strip like it wants to almost turn in there a little bit, like it's a little bit too small. Yeah, see? This one fits perfectly. Yeah, that one will work. I don't think being Alan, I don't think you'll, maybe I just didn't have it seated in there correctly, but this one feels really good. But the good part is, like I said, I'm not included that, so I'm not going to hold them against them because it does come with axial. So when you buy this truck, you get this wrench. So that's really nice because I guarantee most of these screws and bolts on it are this size. That's why they gave you just that. So here is the factory one. Could you put silicone oil in there? Does it have some in there? Probably. No, it's plastic. It may have a little silicone oil in there. So there's the cover thing that holds it on there. The spring, the arm. That's definitely for show. They may have put a little silicone grease in there. That looks wet or greased. They may have put like some kind of silicone grease in there or something, I would imagine. That isn't as terrible as I thought. It's nowhere near compared to this. Like, you have to kind of lube this. That initial, it's going to need probably a stronger spring. This one just seems bouncier. I don't know. I hope I was right about the bounciness, like how big of a difference it's going to make. Of course, adjusting and doing everything else to this as well. So there's one. We're just going to set these to the side. And as far as assembling these, man, these loops are huge. Why are these so much smaller? So obviously they would go this way, and then you would just screw it right in, and it can't come off that way. Yeah, that's what you would do. So then you get one of these screws. Will these thread into the thing and not have to use anything else? So like this. So let's see. I'll experiment here. These should just literally screw in. Now I'm gonna use this key. I'll see how well this key fits. This key fits perfectly. It's threading perfectly. Now, am I gonna need a spacer? I don't know. I don't think I've seen any instructions. Do not want to strip this. Let's see what's on the other side. Nope, looks like it can run all the way through. So those ones were long. These ones are a little bit longer, but that's okay. They look like they can thread as far, and you don't want them tight. You just want them in there enough. There we go. Back it off a little bit. Man, that's perfect. And there's a 20% low battery thing. I'm gonna have to get a power bank. So there's one side. We'll just go ahead and do this side. Like I said, we'll pause it. I'll throw a power bank on, and then we'll do the other side. So you're just gonna need a silver one. Now you can't use spacers if you want it to stick out further this way, which I can understand depending on your suspension setup. That looks like it would just bolt on just fine. You can look at the geometry of it, see how it behaves. You can adjust that. That's nice that they gave us spacer screws, O-rings if you blow one out, so forth. So on plenty of these screws, all these screws are the same length. I want to say yes. They're all the same length. It goes on a certain way so it can't come off. I mean, it makes perfect sense. So we're going to figure out which way it flares out the most, which is this way. Just like, I think I got it the right way. Nope, the other way. Just like that. Put the screw through the hole. Man, this is very easy. Like I said, those spacers and everything is if you need it, you know what I mean? If you don't need it, don't have to use it, right? So this is where it gets tricky. Whoops. With seeing it. So now I just need my Allen key. And I'm gonna have to kind of use one hand to guide it and then one hand to tighten it. So I'm gonna pop it onto the Allen key because this one stays pretty well. There we go. We're gonna line up the hole. Make sure it got stretched. You can cross thread even in plastic, I do believe so. It is possible. And then you'll have to buy that whole part because you're cross threaded. Like you're gonna have to. Why is this already spinning in it? That should be done. Let me see the key that came with it, see if it'll get a little bit tighter. It looks like it's all the way down onto it. This one is a little... Oh, it's snug. I don't want to tighten it on too tight. There we go. There is one. So let me just pop on the tire for really quickly just to see the height. Dude, this is going to make a difference. Take the wheel nut and make sure you put it on the right way. It looks silly the other way. I don't think you can even thread it on the other way. I don't know. Okay, there's that. Then we're just gonna need our electric. See, it's not gonna over tighten it too much. Look how bouncy that back end is, and look at the front. Do you see the front doing that? I was right about the suspension. Man, that is nice. Especially after you work it a little bit, get some oil going. Look how fast that rebound is. Look at that. Watch this one. Much slower. And that's going to help with that playful bounce. I think it's going to minimize it. And that was my biggest complaint. And that's not even no turns on it. That's factory space between the spring and the top of it. Whatever space that was, it's the same. Whatever oil is the same. Whatever spring is the same. And look at all this adjustability and modifications we can make to it. And all the spare parts. And it was $20.99. Plus tax, obviously. So that is just one side done. I'm going to have to do this to all the sides. And man, you could already see the height difference. So that's, I'm going to need some bigger tires. That's the next thing I was looking at is bigger tires. Now I know why that guy at the hobby shop, when he bought one of these, he was over there buying all the little parts for it because it just makes it so much better and it looks so amazing with the springs and the suspension. I see why he was so excited about it. I mean, look at that. Look at that space. Look at that travel. So that is the travel. This I'm glad I kind of did this way because it shows you, like, make sure the body's Velcroed on straight. Like, I don't want no variable. Line it up. Make sure it's nice and straight. Push it all the way down. I don't want it to be like, oh, I didn't have the body on straight or something. Because you can get the body on crooked with the Velcro, by the way. I kind of have it a little bit crooked there. Yeah. See, that's the thing with Velcro. That's why I might do the magnets as well. I think the magnets hold a little bit better, straighter. There we go. A little better. Let me see. It's still off a little bit that way. I'll mess with that later. But yeah, I mean, this side. This side. And then when you have load on it, it doesn't look as crazy. Like when you have load on it, it's perfect. See? Like it's not that much higher once you got the weight on it. Let me push it down a couple times. Let me take it off the stand just for a second to show you, like when you have load on it. And mind you, there's other ones lower, so it's, oh, look at that. Yes, man, I'm geeked. I'm sorry, I'm just excited. So what we'll do is we'll grab a power pack, throw this back on the stand. We'll grab a power pack. We'll charge this bad boy up. We'll come back once we install all four, and then we'll go from there. This is just an extension. We don't even need that. We'll put that back. We don't need these. Like, that was just very painless process. Very easy to do. Like, you had almost everything besides the wheel 4mm wrench, which they could have probably thrown one in here. I'm not saying these are terrible. Maybe if I added different fluid in them or different springs. They just don't have the travel. These are 39mm, and the other ones are so much smaller. So let's just line them up. Like that. Look at that. That's the difference. And these are, I think, 39s. They had 42s. That would have been too much. See that? That's the only thing, my complaint is we have it all the way out like that. You kind of have to push it. But once you work it a little bit, it's perfect. But you know what? This car has enough weight. See how the front kind of like dampens and rolls instead of bouncing it? That one shock, look how much the other sides bounce. And look at the front. See how the back... Yeah, that's going to be the difference, guys. I'm just excited because I actually can see a difference, and that's what I want. So I'm going to make sure you keep this one right here for all these bits and bobs. And then maybe get another bag, or I could fit those shocks in there as well. Keep the factory ones. You never know if you break one or something happens. It's just nice to have that set. So we'll get a charger and we'll come right back and finish the job. Okay, so we're back. We installed all four shocks. Let me show you really quickly. All 4 of them are on there. All 4, once I installed them, all 4 are behaving perfect. None of them is sticking. Just needed that initial working them a little bit. That will change with adjustment, of course, with different shock oil, with different springs. You just have so much adjustability. And the main thing I want to show you guys is what I'm the most excited about. So remember how bouncy this car was? Now watch. You see any of that flabby bounce? It might roll side to side, which is normal. But as far as the bounce, gone. It damps, it rebounds amazing. Does it need adjustability? Absolutely. But this is what I'm trying to say. Let's say I knew nothing about shocks, right? And you saw this video and I recommended it. We did nothing to these. We simply unscrewed screws. I didn't even put any spacers in or nothing. I used all long screws. Let's say you didn't know nothing. The long one's supposed to be for the thicker parts of plastic and towards the bottom is thinner, so you have a thinner screw. You have the spacers to get the shock away from the posts, and you look at the shock this way to make sure it's straight. Let's say it's a little bit angled, so that will mess with its geometry a little bit, just to let you know. So what you're supposed to do is, let me pull this off. Those spacers right there is supposed to get this shock straight. It's just ever so slightly. These spacers would be perfect. Right here, that would be perfect. That's what they're for. To get the shock straight in the geometry. Let's say I didn't know that. I just didn't do it. Let's say I didn't know that, and all I knew how to do was put in the brass piece, a screw. I didn't even use the shorter, long ones for each one. I used long for everything. Didn't know any of that, or shock compression. Didn't touch it, didn't unscrew any of these. Literally just put them on and put this on here. The crawling experience will change just by that. So literally by watching this video and just changing these out, not even knowing anything about crawling, would completely impact the way this behaves, drives, everything. It's gonna make a difference. It's gonna make even a bigger difference once you apply these spacers, get the shock straight, kind of figure out the geometry, how it's behaving when it's turning and everything. Let's say you see that you need a little less rebound, get a softer spring, faster rebound, harder spring. Change the oil in it. You feel like the oil's not even or one's behaving kind of weird. Change the oil. You just have so much, and not to mention the adjustability. We haven't even touched on touching these. I decided to leave them on factory, like if you were to just to buy this, not know anything, and literally just pop the body on. This is the performance you would get. And I tell you what, now watch when you push it like this and let it go. Do you see that rock? Do you see how it's not playing and bouncing all over all bumbly? See that? That's gonna make the world of difference. The only thing that I needed was a 4mm. Now you don't have to have this electric. These are nice because they create 100 RPM. So it'll tighten it, but it won't strip, even in plastic. I mean, if you're forcing it, yes, you can strip anything. But this was $10. The shocks were $20, and this oil was like $5 or $6. How can you beat that performance difference? You don't need this. You don't need this shock oil. $20 and a 4mm thing is all you needed to get the same results. Not adjusted anything, not knowing any know-how about anything. That is it. So that is what blew me away about this platform. It's so easy to upgrade. That's just gonna make a tremendous difference. Mind you, this is one upgrade. The ride height is better. You can see how much travel it has. But when it rides, let me undo this. It's perfect. It's a little bit higher. And we can adjust it to make it straighter. It looks like the back end is a little bit lower. I think the back end is heavier. Let's see the balance now. So it's in the middle of the chassis. Yeah, the back end is definitely heavier. So the back end's gonna be a little bit lower. We can stiffen the back a little bit, loosen the front, get it a little bit like that, like that. Ah. But before you start wrenching on it and start adjusting it and changing stuff, take it out. Drive it on a course the same course, mind you, same course, same weather, try to shoot for the same reason thing. Have it with this factory suspension, and then buy these and put them on and see the difference. If you suck at crawling, it's not gonna make you better. If you understand lanes and how to crawl and how to, how to attack something, this is gonna make the world a difference. And this is why I do these videos, because I love to modify and upgrade. There is a few more things in my cart. There is the complete linkages, this one. So it has all these linkages. So it's this one. So all four, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side. So all 4 of those, and I think the steering one right here, this one right here, and this one. So I think it's basically, some of them is a Y too. Well, that changes it. There also is like a skid plate thing. I don't care for that. It's not that serious. I don't think a skid plate, yes, it's gonna add weight to kind of a lower point. The weights you would wanna be on the axles is your lowest point, right? So if you're gonna add weight, I would do like brass. They have brass axle, CV, all this inside of here, all this right here can be brass. Like the 3-point right here, the coupler, the boot, everything, drive shaft, this whole thing can have like a brass piece. They have a full set of brass hardware for this. They have brass weights for the rims. They have weights inside the rims. They have foam. Like this doesn't have foam in it. See how much, these need to break in a little bit, but see how much flex that is? They go entirely flat. These have no foam. A set of nice rims with weights, I think in the rim or behind it, with a bigger tire, with foam, you're looking at 26 bucks. Then you get the linkage set, that's another 20 something bucks. Then you can get a 2-speed. I don't know, the 2-speed is more for like, if you're going on more trails that have distances in between, or something you need a little get up in to get moving, kind of like a rock bouncer more or less, a little bit more of a rock bouncer style. There's a 2-speed transmission for this. It's insane. I mean, I just begin to touch on the parts for this. And mind you, this is on Amazon. This isn't even like a hardcore RC page or like at a hobby shop that's gonna have 1,000,001 options. Mind you, everything was metal. It is by this brand, honey. If you can read this brand for me, this name, it's INJORA. Injor? 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 INJORA.
Injora.
Injora. It's by Injora. There is writing on the shocks. Make sure you face them all out that way. See how I say Injora? Make sure you face them all the same way. Just it looks better that way. If you have already screwed one, unscrew it. You can turn the shock. You can, of course, you can turn the top part. If you turn the bottom part, it will unscrew from the thing to make sure that's tight. You don't need those screws tight all the way up against there. If you forgot the spacers and you feel like one isn't doing this, you want your shocks to do this. See this? See how the shock can move? See how it can freely just move side to side. If I tighten this all the way, that's why they have that spacer, so it doesn't hit the frame, rub on the frame. It's gonna rub, or you can't turn the adjuster. You need the spacer. But like I said, it's all about geometry and stuff like that. If you look at this like this, you can see how it's coming in. You want it more straighter. So you need the spacers. I did not apply them. I'm going to probably apply them, but I'm just gonna go off the basics that I didn't know that. Of course I know that. But just slapping on them. So it's not a bad idea. They gave you plenty of spacers. They gave you bigger and smaller. So if you need a smaller one on the bottom, or you need a big one and a small one, they gave you the longer screws in case you need to use spacers. They gave you the shorter ones for the shorter ends in the bottom. That maybe doesn't need as many spacers, because typically the bottom's going to be the one sticking out the furthest typically, and the top's going to kind of come in. So instead of them being like tilted, just ever so slightly, well, they would be like this, but just ever so slightly, in, you want it straight. That way it'll just do better. Now it does have that ball at the end, so they can be tilted, don't get me wrong. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I think it just looks nicer, and it can perform a little bit, especially with the steering rack. So when you steer and you have it flexed, that can change the geometry a little bit, but You'd be surprised what little changes like that. It's just about setup, how you prefer it. Maybe you want the shocks like that. I don't know, but it's crazy that you can just literally, basically just not even know, throw them on, and it makes that kind of performance difference. I mean, that is insane. Before it'd be like bounce, 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 bounce. Huge, huge difference. And these aren't the tallest ones. I didn't want it to be crazy. I mean, look at that travel. That's 39 millimeters. That's enough. I don't need no 42s or 40s or whatever. They have a few different sizes. It said right here, this is what they're identified as. Gray, China, 39 millimeter shock. See, 39s. This is what this looked like. Oh man, I tore the one side. Just to give you an idea what they look like when you receive them. It'll just have a little information on her like this. Nothing too crazy. Follow us through on Facebook so you can kind of see. They have so many products. It's unbelievable. So I'm glad they gave you all of them weren't these tear ones. They actually gave you a one with a little thing you can close so you can keep all these bits and bobs. Springs. That's gonna make a difference. So that's gonna help with not the bounciness, but help with like how stiff they are. And the oils can help with rebound and stiffness as well. I mean, there's just a lot of factors and adjustability on them. So it's huge. You're gonna have a wide range just by these factory ones, just by being able to adjust them. That's gonna give you a wide range. So I think once you put the weight on there, I think the ride height could be a little worked on, but I'm just gonna go with out of the box how they're adjusted from the factories. I'm gonna go out of the box, out of the package experience onto my platform, and I'm gonna go crawl, and I guarantee it's a world of difference. I'm gonna notice it right away. I wonder them compressing a little more. I wonder if it'll do a steeper incline. Like there's just so many different factors and stuff. The wheels are for sure next. I feel like they do need foam in them. Like once these break in, these may like just push in a little bit. That'll be fine. But like, I feel like they almost need foam. And they're fine if you want metal. These are plastic rims. Metal rims will add a little more weight towards the bottom to help with the top heaviness. So I think a set of tires and rims are next. And then we'll go from there. I think tires and rims. 2-speed, I don't care about. Linkages, to be honest with you, I don't care about. I think it's just going to be getting a decent tire. That company's where it's from anyways. So I'm almost tempted to reach out to them like, hey, you want to sponsor your full entire accessory? Because they literally had every single piece of it. You could probably build one just out of their brand parts. Like they had the motor frame, the transmission, these linkages. They had the axles, the wheels. Like you could literally build the whole platform and just throw your battery and body on it. Like maybe they even have that. I don't know. Maybe they have different bodies. Maybe they even have batteries. I did see a battery. You can do a battery upgrade. This is, I forget how many milliamps it is. Excuse me. They had 800 pancakes. So you're going to need a pancake style. You don't want a blocky tall one. Yeah, it'll fit, but you want the weight to be as flat as possible. And I think it even has a mount where you can change where you mount the back. I think. Don't quote me on that. So you want to undo the Velcro a little bit. Don't go crazy on it. There kind of is a battery tray there. Whoops. Let me get this untangled. There is a little battery tray. Could that battery tray be moved? Possibly. I think it's in an okay point. But the battery is what makes, I feel like the battery and the body kind of makes the back heavier. There's a way to balance it. So this one is 2S, 350 milliamps, 30C battery, 7.4 volt. So this is a decent battery. Now the ones that we're looking at were 800 milliamps, and I think the size was right about this size. So 800, you're more than doubling the runtime, and I think you get one, or it was like a twin pack or something for a really good price. So it blew me away, and it did have this style connector, so you don't have to solder or cut. So there's tons of options. Now, obviously, you're getting an 850 milliamp battery. You're going to add more weight to the rear end, so you may have to add more weight to the front. I don't know how you want to balance it and do it. I'm going to do it from this side. These wires can lay there as well, kind of tucked off there. Lay the battery in the tray and then just tighten up the strap. I just like everything, the setup, just how well everything works. Tighten this up. Make sure this can reach. Nope, it has to be on the other side. I just realized that. That's something, like I said, I haven't installed this battery too many times. So turn it around, make sure you have it on this side. You can lay those wires there, and you're not gonna get this strap tight enough to smash those wires enough to make a difference or cut them, right? The antenna goes there, so be careful not to damage that. That's gonna affect your reception. Lay the battery on top just like so. Lay it nice and flat. Give it just a little tug, just a little tightness. Push this wire. I wonder if you can just lay this like, yeah, you can. Lay that tab down, just like that. And why is this? Do I have to flip the battery upside down for it to reach it? Yes, you do. Huh. I've never, that tells you how many times I've taken the battery out of this. So undo it again, slide it out, flip it over, just like so. Lay it flat. Let me make sure. Yep, that way it will reach it. Let's go ahead and throw this bad boy in here. It's just gonna keep the connector from flying around. It's not gonna hurt it. That is how you charge, so you don't go super, super ultra tight, but just tight enough to keep this battery from shifting or moving. The antenna's still just fine in there. This can just plug right in there. We're good there. Let's go ahead and just close the body for now. And then another thing is when you put the Velcro on, make sure the body's straight, because that's just gonna look silly with the body crooked, right? Make sure there's nothing in the way. Right there. You can hear that. Just press down, and I think I gotta super press it, but there you have it. So this platform is just, make sure the oil, mix that in there a little bit, work it a little bit, kind of break them in. Man, that is good. I mean, look at that. Oh, plenty of travel. Nice slow rebound, not that crazy bounce. I mean, look at that. And you can minimize that. I mean, watch. When you land on 4, watch. Very good dampening. You can even improve it even more. So there you have it, guys. The axial suspension upgrade. Would I recommend it? Hands down, the best 21 bucks spent so far. The wheels may even make even more of a difference than this. Man, not having that foam in there and how just, yeah. Definitely be getting the wheels. You know, it'd be nice if it came when you buy a set of 4. If it comes with 5 for the back. I just thought of that. Or maybe buy, I don't know. I'll look into see if you can get 5, because the back wheel is going to be different, by the way. The rim is going to be different. So keep that in mind. Maybe just get tires. Like, you can keep the rims. Yeah, I know they're plastic and not metal, not as heavy, whatever. But, like, just maybe get a tire in the foam, right? Get a tire and foam and boil these. This is how a lot of people do it. I may just leave these as is and just buy another set. I'm not even going to bother with boiling and trying to glue and everything. I hate gluing a tire. They should come pre-glued from the factory. Some of them don't. I have the super glue in my thing. That's not a big deal. But we'll get into all that, obviously, for the tire video. This video is long enough. The suspension is amazing. It's good. It's really good. I like it. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, I know it's long. I just try to share every little bit of information with you. Any questions or anything in comments, please leave it below. Yes, there's some other stuff I could do to it as far as tweaking the suspension and stuff. That'll all be done after I run it, and then I'll feel what I need. Some people like a firmer ride. Some people like it softer. Just however you feel is best for your vehicle to climb better and perform better and just enjoy it. So that's what it's really about. So that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.